Yo, what up, street gods? Eric Kim. All right, the thought. The thought is on thinking for yourself. So, my biggest criticism of, modern day living life education is that we are not taught to think for ourselves. So, I think we humans are far more socially intelligent and actually have a lot more. We have a very well-tuned bullshit detector. And the big thing about this is that in America, there's too much political correctness where you're actually not allowed to voice your opinion, your thoughts, without being called any sort of names, right? And, ironically enough, you go to college, right? And you're supposed to actually be given more freedom of speech, right? And I think the point of college was supposed to expand your mind and so forth. And actually, in my experiences, I went to UCLA as an undergrad, studied sociology. Shout out to Terry Anderson and Mark Jepson, my other professors. The most useful thing about actually studying sociology was it taught me to unlearn and deprogram myself from a lot of the BS I kind of grew up with, right? And so in so far much as the education, my theory is a via negativa approach to education is the best, where the purpose of education is to unplug yourself from the metaphorical matrix and use the opportunity to develop truly independent thinking. Now, this is what I've realized about higher education and media and everything in between. Everyone has a hidden agenda and bias. Now, obviously this is obvious insofar much as, all professors tend to be left-leaning liberals. Some of them are kind of really into Karl Marx and Marxists. Some of them are either closet communists or overt communists, or super into socialism, which is fine, right? But the problem is, you as a student, or let's say your future kids or your current kids, just kind of ask yourself, what does the education system want, and does it actually promote free thinking? And I think actually the primary thing is not, because certainly everything is a little bit brainwashing, right? So for example, even studying sociology at UCLA, obviously it has a crazy liberal left bent, and being from California too, it's probably one of the most uber liberal, open-minded places. Well, maybe back in the day, I don't think it's so anymore. Because I pride myself in being raised in the Bay Area, where it was the most tolerant, open-minded place ever. Even my Scoutmasters, Troop 11 in Alameda, really great community. And actually even my formative years in Bayside, Queens, shout out to my homeboys, Spencer, Deech, and Jonathan and stuff like that. We was the original Rainbow Crew. But anyways, to me this is really important because I feel like the world is becoming more and more intolerant, and maybe the problem is there is too much politicking that happens with people with hidden, political motives and agendas, and I kind of don't like that. So, what I think is, in society in the world, and at least if you live in America, you should be given the right to freedom of speech without some sort of people having overt violence if you say something which is contrary to people's typical opinion or so forth. So, for example, I'm anti Donald Trump, right? But let's say for funsies, right? I put on a MAGA, Make America Great Again hat, and I walked around Berkeley or Whole Foods. Dude, I would probably either get punched in the face, metaphorically lynched, or something like that. And so certainly you know, a lot of left-leaning people's, ironically, a lot of people who actually tend to be very elite and rich and whatever, are actually some of the most intolerant people. And actually my critique is, at this point, everyone just kind of scared shitless to share their opinion because they're afraid of getting canceled, or, you know, a lot of people's socioeconomic status depends on, you know, how many YouTube viewers they got or silly stuff like that. And as a consequence, people's don't really share what's really on their mind, and they spend too much time like kind of like pussyfooting about and not sharing what's really on their mind. Now the danger of this is that essentially the people who should be the most liberal and open-minded end up becoming the most like, you know, thought police when it comes to like kind of 1984 vibes and stuff like that. So I find it hugely problematic because in today's world, today's free world, right? Or at least I'm speaking about America, we should be given the opportunity to have the maximal amount of open-mindedness and stuff like that. But actually what's happening is the contrary, where freedom of speech is not being tolerated in America, and social media makes things a little bit too hyper and a little bit crazy. So what is we to do about it? So some of my propositions and thoughts, I mean, you as a, I don't know, if you have a podcast, a YouTube, a blog, or a website, whatever, censor yourself less and be less afraid of sharing your opinion, your thoughts, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's all just kind of your opinion, and anyone who says otherwise is kind of an intolerant numbskull, right? And so it is my personal imperative is that, yeah, I just want to encourage more people to be free thinking, free willing, and share their thoughts openly. And yeah, just don't be scared. I mean, I have taken this like kind of Spartan stoic approach where, you know, you look at the ancient Spartans, who are probably the most free peoples or nation of all time. And, you know, are they driving around in Lamborghinis? I don't think so. Their lifestyle was uber ascetic. A-S-C-E-T-I-C. And then it goes to ancient Greek, which is askesis, which means like kind of training, like muscular, strong training. So for me, I'd rather be poor, free-spirited, free-minded, free-willing, you know, highly muscular, sharing my opinion, rather than, you know, getting bullied around by a bunch of people who disagree with my thoughts. And so yeah, like I think one of my life missions is to encourage people to be more free-spirited, more open-minded, less scared and stuff like that. And just knowing that I think the future belongs to open-minded people.